So after this, there is a limit to filter. The limit to filter, what it does, it will be limiting the entire data to only 5 records. So we need to provide the filter in this way. So the pipe symbol shows it as a filtering constructive. Then data.monthly usage history is getting the data, and it may be having some 100 rows of data for a given month. But we want to show to the user only 5 records. Okay, so when we apply this limit to colon 5, only 5 records which are from the top are going to be displayed in the browser. So, and there is one more filter that is applied, number colon 2. That means we can see the digits whichever coming after the decimal are actually limited to two digits only, even though it is having some 10 to 12 digits. So in that way we can apply the filter on the dates, on the numbers, or like a condition we put in the SQL commands, like we can limit the number of rows to either 10 or 50 at the most. So in that way all the filters we can apply. So limit to filter is such kind of instruction that we can provide only to filter, only to get the data to that provided filter as 5 or 10. Then currency filter. So currency filter is actually giving the whatever the fees in the currency format. So if the culture of your browser is US, then automatically the dollar symbol will be coming. Otherwise, you have to set to that country's culture symbol. Then Indian rupees will be coming into the will be added to the whatever the digits that we have from this data students.fees. So this is applied by putting the pipe symbol as well as writing the keyword as currency. Then order by filter. Order by is having the same kind of structure like we have seen in the SQL commands. Select star from table, order by some column name. So similarly, you need to provide the field name here, order by, and suppose in this case the marks are going to be the actual filter for this clause order by. Then subject dot name marks, this is going to be filtered on this order by clause. Okay, so this order by clause is going to be like ascending order and the descending order. So accordingly, as per your given clause, the filter is going to be applied, and accordingly you will get the UI, which is either in the incrementing order or in the decrementing order. And then not only that, we can provide our custom filters also. So by registering a function called as filter factory, when you go to the advanced AngularJS implementation, we can create filter factories, and sometimes we can provide factories actually. With our module, we can create our own custom filters. So if you are not satisfied with these default provided filters by the AngularJS, you can implement your own custom filter also, but for that you need to have some good understanding of the modules and how to write the further customization on your filter. So in that way, we can implement our own custom filters. Then after this, we are going to see the controller. So what is a controller? In AngularJS, a controller is a JavaScript function that is used to augment instances of Angular scope, excluding the root scope. Okay, so this is nothing but a function. This is nothing but a JavaScript function. And what we can do is we are going to provide the scope object, and which is nothing but the dollar scope actually. So using that, we are able to connect to the model as well as to the view. Okay, so what actually the controllers actually do? Set up the initial state of the scope object. So that means whatever the initialization for any given scope object, that means the dollar scope object is going to be by default created with AngularJS when its runtime is being invoked. And in your code, actually, you can invoke some, like, and you can initiate some variables, you can initiate some properties. So all these can be done by using the scope object. then add the behavior to the scope object. So finally what you are going to do is, you are writing some functions, you are going to have some class, some directives. So all these you are going to attach to this scope object. So automatically this scope object is nothing but the communicator between the model and the controller, and accordingly whatever the model is getting changed, view portion is automatically getting the latest changes so that it can be presented on the browser. So that means the main communicator is nothing but this scope object, which is globally available in your AngularJS application scope. So in general, a controller shouldn't try to do too much. It should contain only the business logic. So whenever we are writing the controller, actually, not only in the AngularJS, even we see in the main stack also, the controller's main implementation is limited to provide the proper business logic only. Okay. So then accordingly, it can take the decisions to which view it need to be redirected. So all these are actually we need to like provide with the support of the model view architecture, and then automatically the views are getting updated whenever there is any change in the model. So but to understand the controller's point of view, it should not be venture into the model, or it should not be venture into the views functionality. Only it has to concentrate on its business logic only. So business logic means whenever there is any incoming request, what should do with that. So if there is any attached functionality to that incoming request, then accordingly it will be invoked, and further part will be handled by the model and view. So typically when you create an application, you need to set up an initial state for an Angular scope. Okay, so whenever we are for the first time we are actually using the runtime of AngularJS, we need to have this initial setup of the whatever the properties and fields that you have in the in this HTML file. So Angular is nothing but a functionality, the runtime you are going to provide by using the keyword ngapp. Okay, so otherwise this is nothing but a HTML file in which you are going to embed the AngularJS functionality. So when you provide this scope by using the ngapp, you need to initialize some properties, and you need to set up with some commands by attaching to the $scope object. So all these are the implementations for the controller. Then Angular applies the controller constructor to a new Angular scope object, which sets up an initial scope state. Okay, so we can see here an example. There is a $scope object, which is a global object. To this global object, we are attaching one. This can be treated as a property. Okay, so this property is given with this value hello. So whenever you are going to call this $scope.greeting from anywhere this Angular scope, this particular respective attached value can be retrieved. So that is what the whole understanding. So this is nothing but a global object by default going to be created by the AngularJS, and you can attach functions, you can attach fields, you can attach properties, you name it, you can attach the things to the $scope, and accordingly they can be retrieved later on in your AngularJS application scope objects. Then do not use the controllers for any kind of DOM manipulation. We have seen in the AngularJS key concepts also. This is not for DOM manipulation. The AngularJS is not meant for that. So DOM manipulation shouldn't be doing very much. So controllers should contain only the business logic. DOM manipulation, the presentation logic of an application is well known for being hard to test. So why it is not recommended is, it is generally harder to test, and the AngularJS purpose is not to manipulate the DOM. Okay, so it is more of attaching the data to the UI in a two-way binding mode. So putting any presentation logic into the controller significantly affects the testability of the business logic. So this is not at all recommended. You cannot put the presentation logic, that means UI logic, into the controller. And similarly, the model-based implementation should also not be tampered with the controller's implementation. So they should be clean and separate modules which are working in their own aspects only. The controller will be looking after the business logic only. The model part is to see the database implementation. Accordingly, the database object models it will be having, and accordingly whenever there is any data change, it should be reflected on the model. And the UI is actually viewing the or monitoring the model, and as soon as the model gets changed, UI is also dramatically getting changed. So that is what happens in the AngularJS. And AngularJS offers as the data binding for automatic DOM manipulation. So that's why we need not concentrate on the DOM manipulation, because automatically it is implemented on the basis of the model. So that's why DOM manipulation is also going to be affected by the model's implementation. So thereby we do not have any further implementation on the DOM manipulation. So we don't have to put more stress on the DOM manipulation in the AngularJS. Then input formatting, use Angular form controls instead. Okay, so there are inbuilt Angular form controls are there. So input formatting can be done by using those form controls. And for filtering the content onto the UI, we can take the advantages of the filters that we have seen just previous slides. Sharing the stateless or stateful code across the controllers. So if you need to implement the stateless as well as stateless code, which is applicable across all the controllers of your given page, then we need to depend on these Angular services. Okay, so suppose sometimes state is a common thing which you want to share across all your controllers, which may be available in different pages also, and accordingly you can have the common implementation with this Angular services functionality. Then managing the life cycle of the other components. So you can create some service instances, and if you want to do any other thing like the component entire life cycle we need to maintain, then in that case also we can create our own services also. So the controllers will be actually sometimes depending on the services that we have seen in the previous slides. So the controllers are actually somewhat dependent on the inbuilt services or your custom services. So controllers as such is the brain of your entire AngularJS application, and it is going to direct the way the application should perform. Then associating controllers with Angular scope objects. So there is an example that is given here. You can associate controllers with the scope objects implicitly via the ng controller directive. So this is the directive ng controller directive, or using this service. The $route is a service. Okay, so you can associate the controllers with these implicit objects. These are the scope objects. So the scope objects can be used by attaching your information. And how to use this, we will see with an example. Suppose this is the UI part. Okay, so in the UI, what you are going to do is you are going to attach one controller with the name spicy controller. Okay, so this spicy controller is nothing but a function. You can see here in this example, the spicy controller is nothing but a function which is getting passed with a $scope object. This is a global object, and we are going to convey to the HTML Angular application, actually Angular page, this particular controller directive. This is ng controller is a directive actually. So this directive we are going to communicate. You can put that anywhere. You can see the controller is applicable on the body tag, and this controller is actually nothing but a function which is written here. And then whenever there is any click happening on this button, then it should be calling the chili spicy function. So the chili spicy this is a anonymous function. You can see this is a anonymous function which is attached to this chili spicy, and the button name is chili. Okay, so there are two buttons that are given. One button name is chili and the second button name is jalapeno. And what we have is we are going to show the whatever the user selected button. Okay, whether he has selected the chili or whether he has selected the jalapeno. So these are spices actually. So this is going to be shown by in this expression. So this is an expression So the food is actually, what is this? This food is a chili spicy or it's a jalapeno spicy. It is going to be dynamically shown here. So how to do this? So so how to do this? The chili spicy is nothing but a function, and this function is having functionality which is we can see there is a property associated with the dollar scope object with the name spice. Okay, so the spice initialized with the spice value initially is vary, and then that means whenever the page is actually loaded for the first time, this is going to be the food is very spicy. Okay, the food is very spicy is the initialized scope object. Then someone clicked on this chili button, so then what happens? Chili spicy, here we can see the chili spicy function is going to be activated, and this chili spicy function is a callback function, is a anonymous function actually. So then we are writing this, we are overwriting this spice with the chili. Here we are actually overwriting whatever that is already available in the spice property. Okay, so the now the dollar scope spice becomes chili. So now automatically, as soon as the user is going to click on this chili, it will show the food is chili spicy. That is what happens when the first button is clicked here. But the user, if he clicks on the second button, this is the second button, we can see there is additional one more function that is attached here, and the name of the function is jalapeno spicy, and here again it is overridden with the jalapeno in the spice property. So now what happens? As soon as the second button is clicked, the food is jalapeno spicy. So initially, without clicking any button, the actual term will be the food is very spicy. As soon as the first button is clicked, it will become the food is chili spicy, and as soon as the second button is clicked, it will be shown as the food is jalapeno spicy. So in that way, we can implement our own controllers according to the functionalities that you require in a given Angular scope. So how it is actually maintaining that information from one function to, so this is a one function, this is the first function, this is the second function, and this is the inbuilt function. Okay, so this is an embedded function. So even though you are calling from inside, deep inside one of the main function or directly from the main function, so what happens? The main communicator is this particular object dollar scope, because we are attaching that information to the dollar scope. So that's why that information is available immediately to the Angular application, and accordingly the model is going to be changed, and as soon as the model is getting changed, the UI becomes immediately reflecting the changes of the model. So this is an example for the controllers implementation in the Angular JS. Then things that worked in the previous example that we have, whatever we have discussed in the previous slides, they have been elaborated here. The ng controller directive is used to create a scope for our template, and the scope is augmented by the spicy controller. Okay, so spicy control is just a plain JavaScript function. As an optional naming convention, the name starts with the capital letter and ends with controller. So the name starts with the capital letter like this in this case, and then we as a notation we can keep the CTRL so that to recognize easily that is a controller. So that's why we can keep this notation having the name of the function and finally ending up with the controller. Then assigning a property to scope creates or updates the model. Okay, so we are attaching one property like spice. So this spice is a property which is getting updated with the whatever the functionality that you want to set with to that property, and as soon as that functionality is called, it is getting updated instantly. So the scope object is getting the changes, and scope creates or updates the model, and controller methods can be created through direct assignment to scope like we have done with the chili spicy method. Both controller methods are available in the template for the body elements and it's the children. Okay, So you when we attach this controller to this body, okay, so it is available in the body as well as to all the children available in this body. So the scope is like if you are implementing for a parent element, all the child elements are going to get this scope. Okay, so this spicy controller is available for all the child elements that it is having. But if you are saying like there is a division and this division is having one controller, okay, so here I have given one controller and then I have closed this div, then the scope is limited to this particular division block only. If you are having many other division blocks in the given HTML, then the scope is not at all applicable, because for the parent only it will work and for all the child elements only it can see. So in that way the div element which is applied with this ng controller is getting the scope, and here in this case we have implemented in the body itself. So that's why the body means every part of the body element is going to be seen with that controller's implementation. So the scope also actually important in AngularJS. You have to carefully decide where it is actually required and where it is not required. So accordingly you can select the parent element and provide your controller's setting. Then directives. So for our help, there are many standard directives that are created by the AngularJS. Directives allow you to enhance HTML with new capabilities. Okay, so what it does, it will be enhancing the HTML capabilities with more functionalities. Okay, so start using the HTML as a domain specific language. We will see some example. Here AngularJS comes with a long list of standard directives. One is ng-app, ng-bind. With this we have used, and this is the first and foremost directive that you are going to include in the AngularJS file. If you are not taking this, then your Angular scope will not be there and AngularJS will not perform. AngularJS library will not be running in your browser. Okay, so that's why this is the key first directive that you want to set up with your HTML element. Then for the binding operations we got this ng-bind. Then for to represent a model you can take this ng model, then ng-repeat, ng-click, ng-enable disable, ng-hide, ng-show, ng-view. There are so many Angular standard directives that are by default given to you, but they are not limited to those only. You can create your own custom directives also. So this is the powerful nature of the AngularJS. So whatever you want to achieve with normal HTML, sometimes it is not possible, and you can provide additional power and flexibility to your web application by using the standard directives, by using the AngularJS standard directives. We will see one by one. Okay, so directives. A directive is something that attaches special behavior to a DOM element and teaches it awesome tricks. So it attaches some special behavior to a DOM element. Normally, if you manipulate the DOM, you might be taking the JavaScript programming, and you have to attach that listeners, you have to provide some animations. All these are actually implemented on the DOM level. Okay, but by using the directives, AngularJS is responsible for interacting with the DOM, and it can provide you with awesome results also. The basic idea behind directives is quite simple: to help to make your HTML truly interactive by attaching event listeners to the elements and or transforming the DOM. So event listeners are nothing new in the JavaScript world. So the JavaScript world is already having these event listeners, but as such we do not have to write the actual JavaScript for attaching this event listener to your markup language, and accordingly you are going to provide some functionality in the JavaScript. Thereby your web page is becoming interactive. So all these unnecessary part is actually removed to some extent by using these directives. So what it does actually is, it is going to work from your side, and it is attaching the event listeners to the elements, and whatever you write as per the given directives. So these are the standard directives. Automatically the AngularJS runtime will take care of that. Okay, so for example, normal HTML markup cannot create a date picker widget. To introduce a custom element like this into HTML, you need a custom directive. So there is no such HTML markup in this way. Okay, but we can create our HTML for exclusively loading up with a date picker widget. So as soon as you create this markup, the AngularJS application recognizes that this is the directive, and accordingly it will open up a calendar. Okay, so in that way it simplifies the things for you. Otherwise, if you are writing the actual JavaScript, you have to import a library. If you are not importing a library, you have to write some thousands lines of code only to show a calendar. Only to show a calendar, you need to set up with so much of programming. And with simple directive, the main implementation becomes a single markup element, and your functionality, whatever is the functionality, is called by using this custom directive. Okay, so this is a custom directive that you can create for your functionality. Then ngbind, both ngbind and the expression syntax ask AngularJS to display the value of a given expression and update that output accordingly when the value of that expression changes. So there is a keyword, that we can see, ngbind. This is a directive actually, and this directive is actually binding the information, and this we can see, we can understand 2 plus 2 is anytime given with the result of 4, and in this expression whatever the value is there, it will be automatically getting printed. So that means the data binding from the model, here we can understand this as a model and this as a view. Okay, so in this it is actually binding this model to this view automatically, and you don't have to hard code the values here, because whenever the model is getting changed, it will be reflecting the changes accordingly. And how this functionality can be achieved? By using this ngbind directive. Then nginit. The nginit directive simplifies specifies initialization task to be executed before the template enters execution mode during the bootstrap. Okay, so if you want to initialize something, suppose in the case of the programming that you might have used in the Java and other languages, in the constructor itself, you are going to provide the initialization of the values. Suppose the counter is equal to 0, the age is equal to some 20. In that way, the initialization code has to be given. Similar is the case with the AngularJS, where with this keyword, with this directive, the nginit, you are going to initialize this greeting as the greeting value as hello, and person value as world. So we are initializing two properties. So these two properties are getting initialized in the nginit, and by default they are, when the particular AngularJS is getting loaded in the browser, it will display hello world only, but it is not the one-time case. You can change these greeting value and the person value from a controller. So whenever there is any change in the controller, automatically these are getting changed accordingly. So in that way, the greeting person is actually having the default values, but it's not limited to the first values only. They can be overridden anytime, n number of times, by using the controllers, like we did with the previous spicy controller implementation. Okay, so in that spicy controller implementation also, we have overridden the value of the property spice. So similar is the case with the greeting and person, and whatever the initialization can be done by using this nginit directive. Then ngcloak. If your document is taking too much time to load, you are noticing issues with the raw expressions that are appearing, you don't have to use the ngbind approach mentioned previously. You can use ngcloak. Sometimes if you are working with huge amount of data, and it is binding that information in this way, ngbind. Okay, sometimes it is not recommended, because it is going to continuously change with the latest value. So that's why that bind will not work properly. In those cases, you can use this ngcloak. So they will be buffered, and actually it will print the output if you implement with this directive. So there are some special scenarios where you can use this ng clock. And then ng include, if you want to include the external contents into your file. So this is an external content, include me.html or some footer.html, some header.html or some menu.html. So all these can be dynamically included if you take this ng include directive. So there is a division. To this division we are attaching this directive as a attribute. As an attribute, this attribute is having the already pre-created functionality in an HTML or in another format, so that can be dynamically attached to this division. So in that way, the ng include takes that by default values for coming from external files. As the AngularJS expression is itself double quoted, we can see there are double quotes and there is a single quote also. The string you provide within the double quotes must be single quoted. Okay, so there is a string, and in that string also we are having a quotation, and in that we can include the whatever the target HTML file or any other file, so that it can be dynamically loaded into this markup division. So this markup element division is going to have that entire contents of the include me.html. Then ng show and ng hide. The element is shown or hidden by adding or removing predefined AngularJS class called as ng hide. Okay, so you can play some toggle effect here. The effect is like if the answer is correct, then it is going to be shown as correct answer, and if the answer is wrong, and it is going to be means the correct answer is the value actually. So this is a property which is having in the model, and this model whenever we are changing, so that means if it is a true, it will be shown to the onto the user interface, and if it is having wrong, then it will not be displayed. That means this will not be displayed, rather this is displayed. No, it will not display anything actually. So it will not display anything actually. So that's why you can play the hide and seek with this ng show and ng hide by only monitoring a single property or the value coming from the model. Then ng repeat, that is a looping construct that instantiates a template once for every item in a collection. Suppose you have some collections, that means some values in a given collection. There are some cities given in this example: Liverpool, Perth, Sydney, Dublin, Paris. ng repeat, what it does is it is going to iterate all through the available values, and with this $index, that means if the index is 0, the 0th value will be printed here, and if the index is 1, it is going to be printed. So in that way we can provide the functionality by taking this directive ng repeat. Okay, not only that, it is providing some special identifiers also, whether this is a first value in the collection, whether this is a last collection in the value, last value in the collection. So all these are actually can be easily identified with the predefined global scope objects, and everything can be easily accessed by using this ng repeat directive. Okay, so here all the Liverpool, Perth, Sydney, Dublin, Paris are getting printed here, but not only that, the first item it will show Liverpool, this is the first row, and accordingly for the last Paris, it will show Paris, the last row. So in that way it can identify what is the first value and what is the last value also. So sometimes it is very handy when you bind the data which is having some 1000 rows of information, and you cannot mark up all these things manually on your HTML implementations. So thereby we can depend on this ng repeat. It automatically takes care of all the information. Not only that, you can identify and accordingly filter, you can display with proper formatting also. So all these are possible by using the predefined directives. Then switch is there, ng switch. This is a conditionally changing value in the DOM structure. First of all, you need to provide with a scope object. Okay, so this ng controller function which we have which we are calling here is what actually doing. It is given with some collection of items, and it is going to have some selection also. The selection is like scope items of 0. That means that by default it is selected with the settings, and you can see from here ng model is the selection. Okay, so ng model is this is the selection ng model, and ng options item for item in items. So what is items? Items is settings, home and other, and we can iterate through that, and we can call the expression here. So whatever the current selection, automatically by default it is initialized to 0, but later on you can change that selection to something else. Okay, we can see here ng switch, when it is settings it is going to be displayed as settings division, and when it is home it is going to provide the markup as home, and when it is not selected by anything it can be gone into the default mode and it is going to be shown as default. So in that way ng switch is handy while you are binding the data, which actually user is going to select while he browsing the website, and accordingly you can decide on what to show to him by using these simple commands. And ng repeat, built-in variables. So in the ng repeat we can see there are some built-in variables like index, what is the current accessed index value of the collection, then what is the first value, what is the second value, what is the last value, what is middle value. Either it should be odd or even, they can also be identified easily by using these built-in variables, and accordingly you can choose to provide a common functionality on your controller. Okay, so suppose in the case of the even numbers which is coming from the data, you can skip them only to show with the odd numbers available on the collection. So in that way some functionalities can be taken out of box by default by using these inbuilt variables.